And as the president of the 2021 Sequim Chamber of Commerce, it's my honor to welcome everyone to our luncheon. Many thanks to all of you who are joining us in person and those of us that are online watching live or even an archived version of this meeting. Thank you for tuning in. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that as we gather today, we are on ancestral homelands of the Clallam peoples who have lived on these lands from time immemorial. Please join me in expressing our deepest respect and gratitude for our indigenous neighbors, the Clallams and the other Salish people, for their enduring stewardship and protection of our shared lands and waterways. We are grateful for your hospitality and support of the business community. So thank you for hosting. We'd also like to acknowledge the loss of a pillar in the community and Tribal Council member Kurt Grinnell. We offer our deepest sympathy to his family and the Jamestown tribe, Clallam tribe, in this time of extraordinary grief. His impact and stewardship of our business community was profound and enduring, and he will be greatly missed. I'm now going to turn over today's program to our chamber staff to run the rest of the meeting. I'm going to mess up his last name. Our membership manager, Tristan Moderati. He'll start off the member introductions and announcements. So Tristan.
I would like to say, first of all, a huge thank you to all of our new and renewing chamber members. Thank you so much for being part of our wonderful community. Looks like we're missing some of the handouts, but it's okay. I remember, oh, it's on the flip side. Aha. All right. So our new and renewing members. First of all, we'd like to give a warm welcome to our new gold level members of Professional Realty Services of Sequim. Then we have Shadowline Burgers and Brews joining on the bronze, A Stitch in Time Quilt Shop, All Aboard Caboose, JLT Construction and Maintenance, Highlands Residential Mortgage, and North Olympic Land Trust. We encourage you all to log into the Member Information Center and look up all of these fabulous new members pages. You'll find their contact information there and be able to learn more about what they do. Welcome to our newest members. And for our renewing members, we have Peninsula College and Castell Insurance rejoining us on the gold level of engagement. For silver, we have A1 Auto Parts Inc., Les Schwab Tire Center, Korean Women's Association, Olympic Peninsula YMCA, Village Concepts at Parkview Villas, and for our bronze members, we have Jardin du Soleil, Peninsula Nursery, Your Girl Friday, Clallam County Fairgrounds, Sequim Lavender Farmers Association, the Big Elk Restaurant, Cascade West Group of Thrivent Financial, State Farm Insurance, Dan Abbott, CFP, Financial Advisor, Edward Jones, Purple Haze Lavender, Sequim Wheelers, Beckevar Logging and Trucking, Caliber Home Loans, Clallam County Courthouse, Insurance Services Group, Kitsap Bank, New Dungeness Nursery, Olympic Music Festival, Sequim Spice and Tea, Victor's Lavender Farm and Nursery, Windmere Real Estate Sequim East, and WAFD Bank. A huge thank you for all of our renewing members. We are able to support, inform, and advocate for our business community because of your investment and participation in the Sequim Chamber of Commerce. Let's give all of our members a big round of applause. In addition to that, I would also like to announce that we're having a business card raffle. And if you haven't yet already entered your business card into our drawing, Angie will now walk around with the jar to take cards. Today, the winner will receive one of our upcoming a la carte advertising options, with more to be revealed in May. Our winner will get a one-week banner advertisement on the homepage of our website. Next, for our announcements and introductions, our executive director is going to take the stage. Welcome, Angie.
All right, thank you, Tristan. This is kind of different. We've got screens with our faces everywhere and we're here. How fun. All right, so I'm gonna draw our winner now. And I'm not gonna put my thumb on the scale at all. Robert Onan, you're the winner. So we'll give you the gift certificate and you can connect with Tristan on that. You win a lot of things, don't you? A lucky person. All right. So for our announcements and introductions, we're going to start with the chamber announcements. If you have anything you'd like to share today and you're here, go ahead and line up next to our friend Dolly, who's our guest with United Way today. And I will have you guys take the stage one by one. But first, and if you're online, go ahead and type your announcement in the chat box, and Madeline's going to come up at the end and announce those. But I'm going to use my executive privilege to do the first announcement today. We've been working hard in the last year to listen to the ever-changing needs of our business community and tailor our services to serve your needs. I'm pleased to announce new features of membership, the SQUIM Market Space, and community announcement sections of our website. The SQUIM Market Space is a new community-centered e-commerce platform for all of our members to use, including courtesy members. So that means everybody can use it. It's a place for businesses and organizations to post classified ads, auction items, commercial real estate available for lease or purchase, rentals, housing units, sales, discounts, rates for military and other business services. So if you are looking for a place to share what you do and amplify that to the community, the SQUIM Market Space is an excellent space for that. The community announcement section of our website is a place for you to post classes, charitable events, activities, or ongoing events. Again, this is for all of our members, including our courtesy members to use, and it's accessible through the Member Information Center. With all of these digital services being live, we are now streamlining our events calendar. To keep it more readable and usable, we ask that you only post limited run events, for example, recurring 4th Tuesday luncheons or 3-day weekend festival. If your event is going to run for more than that, please post it on the community announcement page. This service is also available to all people in our community, and a membership is not needed to submit to the events calendar. You can go directly to the page and post it, but if you're a member and you're already logged in, it's going to autofill all of your information to make it just a lot easier. So it also helps us track it if you want to make a change to your event. If you've been logged in, we can find it and make additions. The other really cool thing that we love about these services is that when you submit a market space, community announcement, or event, they're automatically posted on our website. And then we amplify them further by posting this to our social media. So all the people that follow us will see that information. If you don't know how to log in and use the Member Information Center, make sure to reach out to chamber staff. Tristan is our resident expert. And the best thing about these tools is that it allows us to decentralize information and avoid silos of knowledge. The more that you use these tools, the stronger we become as a community. And we encourage everyone to learn. We'll teach you. But we do recognize that for some people, the digital services are a challenge. Chamber staff will always be available to support folks who need an extra hand and continue to host traditional forms of networking and community building to enhance these virtual programs. So that's my announcement from the chamber. Do we have anybody else here today that wants to make an announcement? Go ahead and come on up to the right of the stage, your left, my right, and make your announcement.
gonna channel Emily Westcott. She's a champion of this. But OMC is selling ducks for their annual duck derby. I have an envelope if you would like to buy one. They're each one is $6, but if you buy a quack pack, you get 6 ducks for $30. We take credit cards, cash, check. And if I'm also selling them at Safeway throughout the week, kind of around the month. And you can, Lori from First Federal at Squim Village also sells them. So if I'm not at Safeway, and Squim Avenue, so you can go to one of the First Federal branches and purchase a duck. And if anybody needs nurses, Assured Hospice is hiring nurses, so send them my way. But if you need a duck, let me know.
I think if I put her here, she'll be on camera.
A little bit further.
Towards
Oh,
me.
there she is. It finds her.
Okay, hello everybody. I'm Christy. I'm the CEO of the United Way of Clallam County, and I wanted to come out to your in-person meeting today because I have 2 amazing new staff members. A little newer, one's newer than the other, but both Alexi and Megan attended Squim schools, and they decided to come back to their hometown after college, and so I'm excited for you guys to get to know them. But I also brought Dolly Parton. Dolly is the mascot, you could say, for the Imagination Library. And that's a new program that we're doing at the United Way. For just $25 a year, you can help a child receive 1 book per month every to their home. So 1 book a month for $25. The books are chosen by the Dollywood Foundation. They're all vetted by educators, and it's a really amazing program. I would encourage you to either sign someone up who could use a book or think about whether or not you might be able to donate to the program. Let me know if you have any questions.
And now for our local Dolly Parton.
I stepped there this time. Last time back, killed myself. Hi there. I'm Emily Westcott. For those of you, there may be somebody in here that doesn't know who I am. Right here, I'm here. I will be here every month to remind you about flower baskets, that you may sponsor a flower basket. I have the forms with me. Most of you got one last week, but I know who didn't, so I will stop by and hand one out. Those of you who sponsored a basket last year or in the past, Melanie will be sending out invoices this week if you choose, and we hope you do, to continue to sponsor your flower basket. You just send it in to the chamber. We have 125 hanging baskets and about 13 that we put on the ground. The high school kids make them. I started this program in 1996 when Daryl Sharp was the horticulture teacher there, and I owned the Red Ranch restaurant. At that time, I belonged to a merchants association called Retail Trade, and one of our responsibilities was flower baskets. And I said, well, they are lovely. I don't know how much they bring business into town. We really needed the money to promote our own program. So I said, why don't I go to the high school? So I went to the high school and started working with them. And then I used the sponsor money that I get. It's $100 to sponsor a basket. You get a little tag that if you look real careful, you can see it hanging down from your basket. And last year we raised $16,000, which is the most I'd ever raised, which was really great. So I give the high school kids the money to make the baskets, and then the other monies go for, you'll see me putting around town, planting flowers, pulling weeds mainly, and planting flowers, and it also helps for a Christmas light decoration. So it's really a win-win program, and it's great. The baskets are done and they're hanging. There is a greenhouse over where the city parks their trucks just before you get on the highway to come out here. Off to the right, there's a big place there. There's a greenhouse back there. We take the baskets over there, hang them on Wednesdays and Sundays. I go in and water them and fill in the little holes of the ones that didn't quite make it. It's kind of an interesting process. So, but they don't come out until the first week in June. Everybody says, why aren't the baskets out? It's really too cold and too windy. And what happens is they'll spin around in that wind up there in May, and then some guy comes along at 6 o'clock in the morning and pours cold water on their feet. Like, ooh. So we hold them off till the 1st of June, but they last almost through October. So here I am. I'll come around. I spy those of you who weren't here last week, so I can give you a form so you can fill it out and turn your $100 in and get your little name on the tag there. Thank you. Actually, I'm substitute teaching today. You all know I have an airplane. I'll be substitute teaching for the rest of my life. Anyway, they allowed me to come to the luncheon today so I could do this.
Thank you, Emily. I think that's a great example of all of the wonderful collaboration of our community. So we're very proud and thankful for all of your hard work, Emily. Now we're going to go on to what would typically be where we announce our sponsor. We are still in the process of rebuilding our events. So we've been focusing on developing the framework and structure and not building in sponsorship yet, but we will be looking for sponsors for future events. And right now you would get an opportunity to speak about your organization or business. If you would like to sponsor an event, you can register through the same portal that you do to register for this event and connect with chamber staff. And your sponsorship helps us make these events possible and gives us the opportunity to highlight your business and do some marketing. Also, it will help us with the cost of this event. So now we're going to move into our speaker. Today, we're joined by Mark Ozias, our District 3 County Commissioner and Chamber Community Ally Extraordinaire. Mark has been there in a big way this last year, championing our region through some of the most challenging times with COVID. For that, we're extremely grateful. I'm going to turn it over. He's going to be speaking through the projectors here because he is a virtual attendant. I will get him all queued up and then we'll have Mark speak.
Okay, there we go. Thank you. I am happy to be with you all today. It's a real pleasure. And thanks for letting me off mute. So I am here today to talk to you a little bit about the Charter Review Commission and the formal recommendations that the Charter Review Commission forwarded to the commissioners for our consideration and for our outreach to the public. So just a little bit of background for those of you who aren't aware, Clallam County is what's known as a charter county. And basically that means that we have our own county constitution. Counties in Washington state have the choice of whether they want to establish their own structure or use that's provided in state law. And way back in the mid-1970s, Clallam County decided to become one of the first charter counties in Washington state. So periodically right now, the timing is every 5 years, a group of people from across the county get elected to sit for a year on what's known as the Charter Review Commission, where they take a look at the charter and consider changes, additions, deletions, alterations, etc. For consideration. And sometimes what we see is those changes go directly onto the ballot so that county residents can vote on them, whether to change our county charter or not. But they also have the option of forwarding recommendations to the Board of Commissioners for further exploration. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. Our charter with this process asks that we work very hard to have robust conversation with the public about these recommendations. And so I really appreciate this opportunity to be with you at the Chamber today to talk about them. Our goal and our charge at the Board of Commissioners is eventually to formulate a formal response to each of these 5 recommendations. And so we have just concluded, as of last evening, a series of public hearings. That was our first opportunity to hear testimony, and each of the 3 commissioners is now engaging in more of this outreach in our own district. So over the summer, we'll be working to put our formal responses together and hope to have those back out to the community by the end of the summer. So I thought what I'd do is just take a moment and talk about each of the 5 recommendations, and then we'll open it up. And I would love to hear questions, comments, if you would like to explore any of them more deeply. If you have an opinion about one or more of them to share, I'd really just love to do some temperature taking and make sure I understand as best as possible, where your interest lies. So the first of these 5 recommendations has to do with what is commonly known as 5G. And in essence, the Charter Review Commission received public input from a number of individuals, about 40 in support, with just a couple opposed, to increased regulation on electromagnetic frequencies, particularly those that are used for 5G. And so the formal recommendation reads, the Board of County Commissioners shall take all required and necessary legal actions to ensure that any franchise associated with new radio frequency devices or systems operating in the micro or millimeter wave frequency range be accompanied by a scientific study determining that such law, regulation, or franchise is in compliance with the National Environmental Protection Act, otherwise known as NEPA, prior to the enactment or granting of any franchise. So, clearly the intent behind this recommendation is to encourage the commissioners to, to take very seriously the installation of new 5G and wireless infrastructure. There is, there's a lot of interest in this subject across the country, as I'm sure many of you are aware, and around the world. As it turns out, local jurisdictions in the United States are very, very limited in our ability to, to regulate wireless devices and franchise. To a large extent, that responsibility rests at the federal level. But nevertheless, we have a recommendation from our Charter Review Commissioners to, to ensure that new franchises are in compliance with the National Environmental Protection Act. So that is the first recommendation. The second of 5 recommendations relates to what's known as ranked choice voting. And if you're not familiar with ranked choice voting, it is a form of voting that allows individuals to choose, when they are presented with multiple candidates on a ballot, who would be their first choice, who would be their second choice, their third choice, fourth choice, et cetera, depending on how many folks there are. And there are a couple of states and jurisdictions that have implemented ranked choice voting. The state of Maine is probably the most well-known example. And while right now ranked choice voting is not an allowable activity in Washington state, there are a number of folks out there who are advocating for ranked choice voting for a variety of reasons. And so this recommendation from the Charter Review Commission related to ranked choice voting reads, the Charter Review Commission recommends that the Clallam County Board of County Commissioners pass a resolution calling on the state legislature to pass legislation which would enable the county and other jurisdictions in the state to adopt ranked choice voting for local elections if they so choose. So just to be clear, this recommendation is not to create ranked choice voting in Clallam County. The recommendation is merely to encourage, or by the form of passing a resolution, to encourage our state legislators to adopt ranked choice voting so that Clallam County residents would have the opportunity to vote themselves on whether they would like to use ranked choice voting. So it's a step before a step. But if this is a topic that you are interested in, then we would really love to hear your feedback. The third recommendation relates to hiring a county forester. As I'm sure you're all aware, the county, not only the county, but cities and school districts and junior taxing districts, library system, fire districts, et cetera, throughout the county depend on revenue from timber harvest and timber sales. And all of our state, the state level trust lands are managed by the Department of Natural Resources. That's the state agency that manages all of our local trust lands here that benefit our local governments and local junior taxing districts. And the interest in hiring a forester is both in recognition that this revenue stream is important for the county and to all junior taxing districts. If you're a small fire district and you need to buy a new fire engine, you're really depending on the revenue from your timberland in order to generate that, the income that you need in order to buy that new fire engine. So, this is the way that our system works, and that revenue is really important to every junior taxing district. There have been a lot of questions over the course of time about the DNR's management and stewardship of this resource, and there's a lot of due to a lack of staffing really over the course of time, there is the sense that we might not have as good a handle on what sort of wood actually exists in county and junior taxing and school district level trust lands. There has not been an on-the-ground comprehensive survey of any of these trust lands since the 1990s. At least that's my understanding. Most of the surveying since then has been through electronic means, and so the conversation at the Charter Review Commission indicated to us that both because the revenue stream is so important and because there hasn't really been a robust on-the-ground vetting of the more remote technologies that have generated the forest inventory, that it would make potentially good sense for the county to consider hiring our own expert to help oversee the management of county and junior taxing district trust lands. So in essence, this recommendation is pretty straightforward, and it reads: the Department of Natural Resources manages approximately 92,000 acres of Clallam County trust lands for commercial forestry with a mandate to return revenue to the county and junior taxing districts. Hiring a forester would provide county oversight and involvement in the DNR activities associated with the county's state-managed trust lands. Therefore, the Charter Review Commission recommends that Clallam County increase their monitoring of DNR's management of its trust lands by hiring a forester. All right, that's 3 of 5. I got 2 more. Number 4 relates to a subject that is, certainly at the top of the list for all of us, I think, and that's homelessness and housing. And so this particular recommendation has a fair amount of background in terms of the scale and the scope of this challenge here in our county and around the country. And the formal recommendation from the Charter Review Commission reads: the Clallam County Board of Commissioners immediately take active leadership to reclaim and renew their primary leadership role in engaging a group of public and private organizations and businesses to creatively increase affordable housing availability, apply forward-thinking ideas proven to be successful in communities that have reduced the experience of homelessness effectively, and report progress back to the community every 6 months. If this is one of the recommendations that you're interested in exploring more fully when we open the floor up here momentarily, I'd be happy to share a little bit more in detail what the commissioners are already doing in this arena to make sure that you have a more comprehensive understanding of where we sit. Finally, the 5th recommendation from the Charter Review Commission relates to the Director of Community Development. And as you'll recall, From my initial remarks about our county charter, it's our county constitution, and so we get to determine many aspects of our own county government and how it works. One of the things that Clallam County voters have voted on a number of times and have resoundingly supported in every one of those votes is that they would like to see that our Director of Community Development is an elected position. You know, this is very unique. I have heard that I know that we're the only county in Washington state, and I've heard that we're the only county in the country that has an elected Director of Community Development. So this is an unusual construct, but again, it's one that Clallam County voters have endorsed repeatedly, and so the intent of Clallam County voters is clear in this regard. There has been a number of conversations about this over the course of time. And when the initial recommendation was made, when the charter was initially changed, there was supposed to be a review of all of our county ordinances and policies to look at what needed to be amended or updated in order to better support the elected position of Director of Community Development. As it turns out, at least potentially that never happened. We've heard some conflicting stories about whether it did or not, but the point is that if it didn't, or even if it did, that it makes really good sense, at least it does to the Charter Review Commission, to take a look at those policies and county ordinance and make sure that they are doing everything that they need to support the elected nature of that position and support the authorities of an elected official. So this recommendation reads, the Board of County Commissioners and the Director of Community Development shall jointly agree to commission a third-party review of the county ordinances and solicit a report on proposed changes to ordinances and operating procedures to clarify the roles and responsibilities of the DCD. The BOCC will consider, after public review and hearings, any proposed ordinances for adoption within 120 days of the receipt of the commission report. The BOCC shall place on the November 2022 ballot, if needed, any necessary charter changes to clarify the powers and duties of an elected DCD director. So this is a recommendation that we have not yet had any public hearings on, because we've been working more directly with Director Winborn on sort of fleshing out how those public hearings and that outreach should work. However, I would love to understand from this group what thoughts and suggestions, opinions, or other you have to share with regard to that recommendation. So, you guys, I realize this is sort of a lot, and if you don't have a chance to ask a question today, or you'd like to learn more about these, I would really encourage you to go to clallam.net. The Charter Review Commission has its own webpage, and each of these recommendations is laid out in great detail. The commissioners are happily taking written testimony, and we're getting emails every day. Of course, each of us would welcome a phone call or any other outreach if you'd like to talk about any of these in more detail personally. So with that, I would love to take questions and listen to opinions if you have them about any of these 5 recommendations. And again, happy to go into a little bit more detail with any of them. So I'm gonna stop talking and see what y'all have to say.
All right, thank you, Mark. Turning microphones on. Thank you so much, Mark. I never knew that my background in land use and development would be so integral to the business community, but it has proven an exceptional baseline knowledge. So thank you for that. We've got a microphone here. If Tristan's going to walk around, if anybody has a question for Mark, go ahead and raise your hand. If you're online, you can also raise your hand virtually, and we can ask a question that way as well. While we're looking for a question, Mark, I do have a starting question. It's just a reiteration. if people want to participate in this process, how do they get connected with that?
All right. Well, where the Charter Review Commission meets once every 5 years. So they met in 2020 and won't meet again until 2025. If you are interested in sitting on the Charter Review Commission, then that's actually an elected position. And so in 2024, November of 2024, all of the potential Charter Review Commissioners will be on the ballot. So if you're interested in that part of the process, then you can start planning to put your name on the ballot for 2024. I'll just say briefly, it's a very interesting process and unique to have a group of citizens meet periodically to review our county charter and to suggest changes. I think that our, all of our government, but particularly our local government, really only works when people get involved and have an interest in something. And the Charter Review Commission is one of the most direct opportunities you have to really get involved in a fundamental level in county government. With regard to these formal recommendations, we would love to engage any of you in conversation about them. So you can ask a question today or share an opinion. You can do the same over email. You can email any of the commissioners very easily via the clallam.net website. You can certainly call us up and talk to any of us about them. And we're also each having a couple of additional events in our districts to have other opportunities for this interaction. So really, whatever works best for you.
Great, thank you. We got a question over here.
Hey, Mark, this is Christy from the United Way. As you know, homelessness and housing is important to a lot of people in our community. And so I would love to hear more, like you mentioned earlier, about what the county commissioners are doing for this issue.
You bet. Thank you, Christy. That's a great question. And we're doing a variety of things. Historically, the county has two discrete revenue streams that we are able to deploy to support programs in the homelessness and housing arena. Last year, we added a new revenue stream that is specifically intended to support affordable housing projects. So that's a new tool, and we've been having a fair amount of discussion about how to best utilize that tool. Excuse me. The goal that the commissioners have for this new tool is to try and utilize it in such a way that we can get some affordable housing built in the short term and not in the long term. The other things that are happening are that we've had a lot of activity in supporting our homeless population, and that's been particularly the case during COVID. Of course, we had to open up a second facility to accommodate folks who weren't able to isolate or quarantine themselves if they had COVID or potentially were exposed to COVID. And with distancing requirements, Serenity House, which is a primary overnight shelter in Clallam County, just wasn't able to accommodate the number of people that needed sheltering overnight. So we've been working very closely with Serenity House and to help them acquire funds and to provide funds for a significant expansion of their facility. So in the short term, we've been working to get ourselves organized to consider how to best leverage these various revenue streams. We've been working very directly and closely with Serenity House to work on affecting a shelter expansion, but we really have a much bigger opportunity. And the commissioners had a pretty good conversation about this at our work session last Monday. And we are expecting a significant bit of revenue over the next couple of years from the Recovery Act. And while we haven't seen the guidance yet that helps us understand exactly how we can spend this, I suggested to the other commissioners that we might want to put a fair amount of this resource, if we're able, into the homelessness and housing arena, because the need is so great and the need is so immediate. And while I can't say exactly what that's going to look like until we see some guidance, we were really impressed with learning about the SQUIM Health and Housing Collaborative and how that operation has come together over the last couple of years. And for those who aren't aware, in a very brief nutshell, the city of SQUIM decided to put some dollars into supporting a variety of community needs. And a group of organizations came together, and rather than responding as individual organizations to get a little piece of that pot of money, they worked together and approached the city as one. And so the model was very intriguing, and what we would like to do is spend the next couple of months looking at the Recovery Act dollars that we have available, looking at the 3 discrete revenue streams that we have available, and looking to the many organizations in the community that are involved in supporting people who are homeless, who need sheltering, and working across the entirety of the spectrum with builders and with funding organizations and with groups like Habitat for Humanity or the Peninsula Housing Authority to actually build affordable housing in the community. And our goal will be to understand how to best leverage those revenue streams and how we can commit a significant chunk of resource right now to work with all of the organizations in the community that are providing this service to make sure that we are doing everything we can to meet the needs of all of the folks who need help. And I can imagine that taking a number of different forms potentially. In SQUIM, a significant portion of our homeless population are single women in their 60s and 70s. An overnight shelter isn't exactly the right place for that population, but maybe there's opportunity to consider looking to fund some sort of a tiny home village for women who are sleeping in their cars and need a safe home. Maybe we can somehow tie in the North Peninsula Builders Association and the school district as some sort of a trades training program. Who knows? There are a lot of opportunities out there, but the commissioners feel like we've got a sort of a once in a career chance to really do something significant with the Recovery Act dollars and other revenue streams that are coming down the pike. And we're anxious to work with the community to get organized to do that.
Yeah, Christy's got a follow-up to that question, and we're happy to empower her because these are important parts of our mission.
Thank you, Mark. I wanted to share with everyone that the United Way has just entered into an agreement with the SQUIM Housing Collaborative that you were mentioning to help with their fiscal. So I'm really excited about that because it is a number of nonprofits working together, and it's hard for them to manage their own operations and also this collaborative. So we're really excited about that opportunity. And I'm also really excited to hear from you and the other commissioners that you're taking this once in a career opportunity to make a difference in our county. It's really, really encouraging. We're also helping to host a forum on homelessness and housing coming up in May. I can get more information to Angie and she can spread the word for us.
You can do it on the website.
Having education for everyone here in Clallam County will be really helpful in us moving together forward. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Christy.
Yes, we have a set of strategic goals as the Chamber of Commerce that was distilled by our board in 2019, but they are just as critical, if not more so now, which is underscoring the need for access to childcare, workforce development, broadband, and affordable housing. So we're really grateful that you're taking this seriously. It's not just homeless people who need housing. It's also our workforce. And we're seeing now the shoe dropping after COVID of many people who are displaced and no longer in our workforce because of the access to affordable or attainable housing. So just a plug from the chamber. This is really critical to what we do. Do we have any other questions in the audience? Just raise your hand and Tristan will come hand you a microphone. That's something.
While we're looking for questions, I'll just say briefly that one of the revenue streams that I referenced earlier, it was created in a House Bill number 1406, and so this 1406 revenue is our shorthand for it. Is a small slice of tax that used to go to the state and it's now going to the county. And it's not enough revenue in any given year to really do much, but it is a 20-year revenue stream. And what we are hoping to do is to bond against that revenue stream so that we have enough money up front to actually do something and affect some change. And we're looking at a couple of different models for how to best do that. We've considered a community land trust model. We've considered a land bank model. I don't know what the final form is going to be, but our goal would be to create a vehicle for utilizing these dollars that maximizes the flexibility to work with organizations like Habitat for Humanity and others, but that also allows for the flexibility to work with private builders who want to actually build workforce scale housing or affordable housing.
All right, well, I just checked the chat. It doesn't look like we have any questions online.
Hey, Mark.
Oh, maybe
Can
we
you
have
hear me?
somebody.
Yes, Tom, I can hear you. Go right ahead, sir.
I hesitate to talk to you about this, but because I don't know everything. All right. Well, it seems like this county forester, you kind of gave me the idea that money is being lost from not the logging operation is not being accountable for. So we need a county forester. I understand you saying that it's going to be a vote. It'll be up to the voters to decide whether we have one or not. I guess I'm kind of interested in what a county forester would cost and what kind of benefits that all that package would cost. And what's going on now? I can't believe that the logging operation is not already getting funds from the money of log. Okay, I mean, like I said, I don't know all of this, but this came on to me and I'm brainstorming here, help me with this.
Yeah, you bet. That's a great question. And this is actually an arena where this Board of Commissioners has worked very diligently over the last couple of years. I would say that it is not, there certainly are those who are of the opinion that with more robust on the ground monitoring of all of our county trust lands, that we would potentially generate more revenue or more regular revenue, or ensure that silviculture, which is in essence the growing of future trees, is being paid attention to. The push behind this recommendation is to make sure that we're doing everything we can as a county to steward and shepherd these important trust lands. It's not, but that's certainly not everyone's opinion. What we've been what we've been doing over the last few years is working very closely with our regional office at the Department of Natural Resources to focus on some of the things that we have the ability to control, like what revenue we can expect, what revenue we can expect by junior taxing district, and when. And those seem like the basics, but those have been remarkably challenging to understand over the course of time. When I first became a commissioner, the way that we budgeted for the county portion, excuse me, of this DNR revenue is that it alternated for just the trend looking backwards was for the county slice somewhere between $600,000 and $700,000 of revenue one year, and then usually somewhere around $900,000 of revenue the next year. And this is just specifically to the general fund. Because there was really not a lot of visibility on where that was going to come from, we just guessed when we were budgeting and plugged in an alternating number because that's how things worked in the past. Well, this board is interested in a much higher level of certainty and understanding than that. So we've had really good partners in our regional DNR office who have worked with us to break down their projections by junior taxing district so that every junior taxing district has some visibility on what revenue they can expect to receive. And it's really helped us monitor much more closely the activities that are going on to generate this revenue. The DNR has done a lot of work over the last few years to improve their own surveying of all of the lands that they manage across the state. And the commissioners had a pretty good presentation about a year or so ago about some of the new technology, the new remote technology that they're using to survey the forest land. This is one of the points of contention. There are some that believe that an actual person on the ground going through and looking at the inventory to vet what the technology tells us would be really important. There are others who feel that the technology works just fine. So my own opinion is that if we were to actually hire a county forester before we took that step, we would need to do a cost benefit analysis. We would need to reach out to our junior taxing districts and understand, what kind of an interest or stake they would be willing to share. And also we'd have to work very closely with the DNR to understand how this person would interface with the DNR. So I don't think anyone can say with certainty that there is lost revenue or other lost opportunities out there. But to a certain extent, we don't know. So that was the impetus behind this recommendation.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
All right. Well, I'm going to button things up here. Mark, thank you so much. I know you are constantly looking at a myriad of different topics as it relates to our local government and the operation of Clallam County. We sure are a special county, and we're grateful for your representation. So thank you, Mark.
You bet. Angie, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity. And again, I realize this was an awful lot to cover. Thank you for the questions. And I would really encourage you to go to clallam.net, review any or all of these that you're interested in, and don't hesitate to reach out to me in any way that you'd like to ask further questions, to follow up, or to share your opinion. The commissioners depend on that, and we will depend on that in order to put our response together. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you. All right. All right, so thank you so much. We're going to do a little bit of our closing right now. We appreciate you all for attending today, those of you online and those of you here in person. Our next luncheon will be May 25th. You can mark your calendars. It's every fourth Tuesday. We will be welcoming the Executive Director of the Association of Washington Businesses, Chris Johnson. We'll be here to speak about collaborative lobbying efforts at the state level. If you don't know much about the Association of Washington Businesses, they are the Chamber of Commerce for Washington, and they speak for little chambers like us, and they also advocate for Microsoft and Boeing and all of the iconic Northwest businesses. So he's an excellent, excellent resource, and we're hoping he'll be able to be here in person. Also, keep your eyes peeled for our May newsletter. It's coming out on the 30th. It is chock full of information, particularly this newsletter as things are getting going again. It will be on your inbox on April 30th. And if you don't receive it, let us know, because that means that your membership doesn't have the right email attached to it. Finally, we have our very first ribbon cutting. Woohoo! We haven't done these in a year, probably more than a year at this point, but on May 1st, we will be welcoming the busy season of commerce in Sequim and also opening day at the Sequim Farmers and Artisan Market. There will also be a pop-up vaccine clinic and cupcakes to kick COVID, partnering with the Clallam County Health Department, and that takes the cake. So if you know anybody who's been on the fence about getting their shot, it's a great way for them to get an easy peasy, no appointments needed first Moderna shot, I believe is what they're going to be doing there. So if you want to do a ribbon cutting of your own, guess who you talk to? Tristan. He is your guy. And we are happy to get those going again. We are live streaming our ribbon cuttings so people can participate remotely, but also it's really fun to have people in purple vests again. And stay tuned for some ribbons all around downtown as we celebrate reopening our business and our economy. And thank you to everyone who has worked so hard in this last year for us to get to this point. It is not lost on me that it's every single person in our community has done their part to make this happen. So thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time.